Morning viewers and welcome to the channel. My name is Shannon Rivkin. This week's video we will be discussing Crown, and the headline here is the Victorian Royal Commission surprises the market by allowing Crown to continue running its Melbourne casino. What does this mean for Crown's future? Not many slides here because I think this is more just a conversational stock today. It is worth looking at the share price, of course, though. This all really started, these Royal Commissions, after the original plan by the partner Stanley, Crown's partner in Macau, Stanley Ho, to buy a stake in the business. Ultimately, I think that would have been seen as a huge error because, of course, as these investigations have gone on, it's unearthed some pretty significant issues within the behaviours of both the board and management teams in Crown. And of course, we've seen real risk to its ability to run casinos in kind of all jurisdictions it currently does that. So we've of course now seen that the Sydney casino is currently not open, despite the rest of the complex being open. And in the meantime, of course, the market's been very worried about what was going to happen with its Victorian license, considering its best asset, of course, is the Crown Melbourne, which has been around for a long time, been a huge contributor for the business. And we've just seen here, of course, this jump right here as the announcement came earlier this week that rather than stripping it of its license, it's going to be given a 2-year grace period to operate and improve its processes and its culture under the eye of what I would call almost like a whole monitor. Another recommendation, of course, would be that no shareholder would hold more than 5%, which has some pretty big implications considering James Packer currently owns, around 40 or 45%. I can't remember exactly the exact number. And obviously was ultimately going to be the kingmaker in any takeover bid when there was interest earlier in the year from Blackstone, Oaktree, and Star Group. And I think that's probably the big question mark from here is, what does that 5% shareholder cap mean? I've also given the chart of Star Entertainment, which, was pretty much largely untouched from all of these headlines affecting Crown, of course, until a few weeks ago when it was announced that they too have potentially had some serious cultural issues, serious anti-money laundering concerns been announced, and they too will now see themselves under the spotlight. No doubt that, of course, the announcement that affected Crown has also had a positive impact for Star. This is a shorter chart, which is why it looks a little bit different there. And the question is, of course, while there's no doubt that both, well, we'll see about Star, but certainly there's no doubt that the way Crown has behaved, the culture, which has been pretty shocking, doesn't leave them as any fit operator of gaming assets in, Victoria, New South Wales, or Western Australia, which is, of course, we're still to see the results and recommendations of the Royal Commission there. I've kind of made the claim before. The expression is one that we've seen used in other parts of the market, but always think that Crown is too big to fail, and possibly Star is too, with its Star casino in Sydney. And by that, what I mean is, anyone who, of course, is aware of Crown Melbourne knows that it's, the biggest tourism attraction in the entire state. Certainly as international borders reopen, you're going to start to see the attraction of that asset be a pretty important feature of the reopening play for the government. They're going to want to see people fly in from Asia again, of course, and that's the main attraction there. And logistically, how is this going to work? If the license was stripped from Crown, it's still the property owner. It still has all of the assets adjacent to the casino. Of course, the gaming regulator has no authority or no jurisdiction to take away its other assets. So what was going to happen was going to have a closed gaming floor with, hotel next to it, clothing and retail and food outlets next to it. Meanwhile, of course, probably going to be empty because there's no casino operating. It wasn't really feasible in my view. While simply saying we'll get someone else to run the casino sounds good, where is that casino going to operate? Any big new casino would take many years to probably to find the right spot to build, or alternatively there'd be a grace period maybe to give Crown the time to sell the asset. I think probably would have been the only alternative that may have had any merit in my view. But probably what's happened, this 2-year grace period, is probably the most sensible, at least from an economic standpoint, even if it seems pretty ridiculous that a company like Crown that has behaved as atrociously as it has is really getting nothing more than a slap on the wrist. Probably from the perspective of James Packer, it'll feel a little bit more than a slap on the wrist. He'll be a forced seller now. That overhang may not come with the takeover premium if that 5% shareholder cap applies to takeovers, because I think it's a little unclear whether that way it may apply in the case of perhaps a merger with Star, and the major shareholder of Star. If they were to go under 5%, would then that be appropriate? I think that's a little unclear, and we'll see how that operates. But there's no doubt that for the smaller Crown shareholders, this was a win. Obviously, the smaller Crown shareholders would have had no impact and no influence over the way the company's operated, and it's good to see those shareholders not punished for the actions of those at the top. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I appreciate you listening in. If you like the video, please click like and subscribe, and I'll be back to you next week with a new video.